Did you ever think in our lifetime that you would come to find out that our world was run by a bunch of wealthy, elite pedophiles who hoard the majority of the wealth and control the majority of our laws that govern us, yet don't have to abide by same set of laws? Did you ever wonder if that was the case? Well, if so, looks like you ended up being a whole lot of right. As per these 3,500,000 pages of the Epstein files that the DOJ released last week. My name is Alex Mador. This is the Short News Podcast, and I think we have a lot to talk about if I can successfully get through recording this episode, as late as it may be. Cue the theme song.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
What year has Jonah? He's got a price.
And we're back a week and some change later. I know, I'm late again. I'm sorry. If I'm being completely honest here, I tried recording this episode earlier in the week. It's Wednesday when I'm recording this. I want to say maybe Monday night I tried, and it really got to a place where I was starting to realize that I don't think I'd taken enough time to process all of the disgusting, traumatic, horrifying truths that were declassified to the American people. I mean, there's a lot in there. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I guess we could start with the fact that in the release of the Epstein files, the 3,500,000 pages that were released, there's still another 3,500,000 more they have yet to release. There's a lot of Donald Trump in there. A lot. So much so that even his own supporters are finding it hard to stay supporters. You've got people who are, MMA fighters who are very outspoken about their love for Donald Trump, finally coming out and saying, I can't stand by and support this guy anymore. Even I have morals, type of thing. Dudes that fought Jake Paul and lost are saying that. And it's not because of the head trauma. It's because they're seeing the ugly truth. And we talked about this a little bit last week, about Donald Trump having allegedly sexually assaulted quite a few teenagers, underage girls, and threatening to have them buried under his golf course, on the back nine of his golf course. Allegedly, that golf course is a mafia-like grave site. That we already covered. I definitely know that. And I want to say maybe, you know what, let's start with ICE. Before we get into the Epstein files, let me organize my brain a little bit because it's quite disorganized. I'm just getting off of a late work schedule, a late work shift, and ICE has been in the news a lot up until the Epstein files dropped. So Donald Trump is planning on, as of earlier in the week, what he said in an interview, he's planning on pulling out the majority of the ICE agents that are occupying Minnesota at the moment. This is coming after they have already killed 2 innocent people who were only protesting and speaking their minds about injustices that ICE is doing unto immigrants. I'm not even going to say illegal immigrants. They're immigrants. They're only illegal because the system for immigration in America has so many unnecessary hurdles and wait times that some people have been on that list for 15 fucking years. No shit, they're going to try to find a quicker way in, especially if their lives are being threatened where they're currently at. The system itself is flawed, and they want to blame these people for trying to find a quicker way to safety. The only reason that these people are not innocent in the eyes of the United States government, and especially specifically the Donald Trump administration, is because the Donald Trump administration is the ones making all of these ridiculous hurdles and making it near impossible to properly, legally emigrate to the United States of America. That is a very fucked up position to be putting these people and then continuing to beat them down using federal agents to come raid their homes and treat them like they're terrorists or criminals or drug dealers or rapists, when it's the guys who are actually running this country making said rules that are the rapists, more so than the undocumented migrants that are coming into this country allegedly as per the lying Trump administration, who wants to act like this is some sort of pandemic, when no, America was built off of the backs of immigrants. The only reason that America has things like pizza, hamburgers, fucking pasta, Chinese food, Japanese food, fucking Mexican food, tacos, Taco fucking Bell. The only reason that we have this weird mix of all different types of cultures and foods, things we fucking enjoy, whether you're a left winger or a fucking hardcore conservative, you've definitely enjoyed a taco or two. We used to not only benefit from the spreading of different cultures and mixing of different cultures, but we used to also promote and support and endorse that because that's part of the American dream, the American experience. Where did we lose that? Where did we go so wrong? Was it after we freed the slaves and they had to figure out another way to enslave black people? And then they just went from there and built and built and built more onto their white supremacist ideals? I don't really know. I fucking don't know. I don't have a time machine. I wasn't fucking there. It's been a while since I learned U.S. history. I'm sorry. What I can tell you is none of this is right. All of the people making these laws are hypocrites. The guy who is the spokesperson of all of this, the face of it, the face of hate right now and xenophobia, Donald J. Trump. Most of his wives are immigrants that he found a way to play the system to get them over to the United States. I would call Melania an illegal immigrant, but I don't want to go that way. What I will say is, as per the Jeffrey Epstein files that were declassified by the DOJ, Donald Trump allegedly only met Melania because of Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein was, trafficking, and Melania was one of his products. And allegedly there was an interaction between Jeff and Donald where he kept going into Donald kept going into the bedroom to sleep with Melania because, I don't know, she's a prostitute or whatever that Jeff procured for him. And he'd come out and be like, what a hot piece of ass. And it's like, all right, so this bitch just wanted a way in, an opportunity. She got her opportunity. She got so many opportunities. She's the biggest fucking opportunist there is. And he wants to act like all these immigrants coming from Mexico are actually the opportunists. I don't see them marrying you, Donald Trump. I don't see you plucking them out of a sex trafficker's catalog and adopting them like they're some sort of lost animal and giving them all of your riches because they fuck you. It's been happening right in front of our faces. And of course they released a Melania movie to tell some fake-ass fairy tale fuck-ass story about how they met while the Epstein files are simultaneously coming out and telling the real story. That's not even the most despicable thing in these files. If we take a break from talking about Trump, because there's a lot more shitty-ass billionaires in these files that I would love to cover. One being somebody that I very much don't like, Bill Gates. I don't think anybody really likes Bill Gates anymore. But as per Epstein's emails and correspondences, Bill Gates was a frequent flyer with Jeff. There was an instance where he was partying with Jeff, and he fucked some sex workers that Jeff had procured, contracted some sort of STD, and gave it to his wife at the time, Melinda. Did not want Melinda to know, so he was begging Jeff to help him figure out a way to sneak antibiotics into his wife, Melinda. I can see 500 different ethical issues with that entire story. Like, not just the sex trafficking and the alleged sleeping with minors, but then the drugging your wife because you couldn't be responsible, because you couldn't cheat responsibly, because you couldn't be a responsible pedophile. I know is that an oxymoron? I don't know. What is the word? What's two opposite words? Is it oxymoron? I don't know. I'm a fucking moron. It doesn't that word that term doesn't make sense. Of course, responsible pedophile. No, there's no such thing. My point is, even fucking Bill Gates is a sicko, and that dude's in charge of so much of our technology. Windows is on the majority of computers that people own, and they collect more and more data from you. They've become more and more invasive. And there's certain settings and features, I want to say in quotes, are tracking now using AI or whatever the fuck on Windows 11 that you're going to have a really tough time turning off. They're not going to give you a choice. I switched to Chromebook, if I'm being honest. I know that's insane. Like, who has a Chromebook in this day and age? I do. I have a Chromebook. Me. But Bill Gates, not a great guy. One funny thing that I could mention from these files, if you want to call it funny. So Elon Musk, we all knew, we've seen pictures of him and Ghislaine Maxwell in the past of them partying together. What we didn't know was Elon wasn't even cool enough for the pedophile group. Elon Musk was in Jeffrey's emails begging to come onto the island, saying things like, when is your wildest party happening? I would love to come visit you on your island once my kids are gone. An email that he sent on Christmas fucking Day, by the way. His kids were visiting him on Christmas Day, and he's sitting there hiding from them in his house, emailing Jeffrey Epstein going, hey man, when can I come to the pedophile island? Please, man, I'm so stressed out. I just need to fuck some kids. I'm stuck here with my kids. Don't want to fuck them, but would love to fuck some kids. Get back to me, please. Am I cool enough? Come on, man. And then you see the correspondence between Jeffrey and Ghislaine, him forwarding that message from Elon to her. All he says is, deal with this, please. He doesn't want to fucking deal with the guy. Elon Musk wasn't even cool enough. He was too much of a fucking loser for the pedophile group, dude. Imagine being the richest man in the world, and the rich elite fucking pedophiles, sicko, demon worshippers who eat babies don't even want to have anything to do with you. That's how much of a fucking loser you are. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you're still a fucking piece of shit. And that can apply to a lot of millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what your net worth is. Most likely you're a sicko, and that's how you got there. And you're still going to be a sicko no matter how much money you have. You're probably even more of a sicko the more money you have. So Elon was begging to get on the island. Trump was best buds with Epstein. His name is in the files. What do they say now? Like hundreds of thousands of times. It was like 1,000 times, and it just keeps going up because they uncensored, they unredacted a lot more names just like a day or two ago. And now shit's gonna hit the fan. People are outraged. There's stuff in there that I don't even feel comfortable talking about because it sounds unreal. But there's stuff in there talking about like these wealthy elite sickos somehow sourcing human babies, disemboweling them, dismembering them, eating their guts, and talking about how the insides tasted like cream cheese or cottage cheese. That's in there. That is in there. Those are correspondences within those 3.5 million pages that the DOJ released. Our government was like, fine. Meanwhile, the news is reporting that Donald Trump is getting ready to admit that aliens exist. We're getting the alien report soon. Sooner than he'll ever admit that he is in the Epstein files, even though the Epstein files say right there that Donald Trump is in them a bajillion times. He'd rather change the subject to aliens. And not illegal ones. Not the illegal ones, folks. Believe me. It's really disgusting. I'm going to use the word disgusting a lot. I probably already have here, and I apologize. But it's disgusting. It's disturbed the fuck out of me to the point where it's actually upset my sleep schedule. Thinking about the amount of evil that it turns out truly exists in this world. It's disheartening. It's alarming. And it makes you paranoid. It makes you wonder, well, what else is going on that we don't know about? What else in our lives are they doing under our noses that has some sort of influence on our futures, on our safety, on the masses in general, and now even worse to think about, on kids? Innocent fucking kids. Listen, if you're listening to this show, there's a likelihood that, like me, you were abused as a kid. You've probably been through some shit in your formative years. So if there's anyone who understands the impact that abuse or sexual abuse or God, like whatever torment or trauma, that effect that has on a human child, it's you or me. We get that. It's a lifelong impact. Now imagine that shit. And the shit I just mentioned, and the shit that you've read independently from the files or that people are telling you about, because I'm not going to cover it all right now. This is a short episode. I can't go any longer. I really can't. Like, I'm going to change the subject back to ice in Minnesota in a second. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, something a little less darker. The government overstepping and trampling on human rights. That's a little less dark, right? So Trump's pulling ICE out of Minnesota any day now. The majority of them are going to be leaving. But here's the kicker. He's announced that he's planning, like it's tour dates, 5 more cities to hit. To invade, I mean. With ICE. American cities. We're invading our own cities, guys. And he expects Americans to continue to be loyal to him? Like this is the right thing to do? You're turning on your own people. What are you the president of? Are you the president of the United States or of Israel or of Russia? Because it doesn't seem like you're fighting for anyone here, except for maybe yourself. But I don't understand how any of this would fucking benefit you, Mr. President. Everybody hates you now, even your own supporters. Like, my God. Fucking horrible what's going on in the world. And I am glad, I am relieved though that they're leaving Minnesota. I mentioned a few episodes ago, like an ex-girlfriend of mine just moved there for education-related reasons. Sucks to suck or whatever, and I don't actually mean that. Come on. Was it a couple days after I said that I woke up from a bad dream and I hit her up like, hey, I just I've been seeing what's going on in the news. I just want to make sure that you're okay. I hope they're not giving you a hard time up there. As it turns out, people, it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter how things ended. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much time it's been. Sometimes you still care. That's a lesson I've been learning the last couple of years. Sometimes you still care. And all you can do with that is care and do the natural thing with that. Reach out, show that you care. Don't make it about some ulterior motive or anything. If you truly care, you're just worried about the person. You want to make sure they're safe and fucking alive. But hey, that's it sometimes. Sometimes you still care. And that's a very human thing. Been doing a lot of that lately, but I'm not here to talk about myself or my past relationships or to breadcrumb or telegraph messages to people I miss right now. I'm here to talk about the system. And the system is fucking us left and right. And it's very disheartening. And I don't know what to do about it. All I can do is come on here and try to open your eyes to what's happening. And even right now, I'm not the most insightful that I've ever been. I'm off 6 hours of sleep, which, yeah, I know that's pussy shit for me to complain about that when some people only get 2 hours of sleep. I'm sorry. But I do a lot during the day. I do a lot of running around. I work in a fucking 24/7 vet hospital. I get tired, folks. Doing more than the president, I can tell you that. More good, at least. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that this is what we're living with and that we're doing it again. This isn't even the first time, but this is the worst time. Trump round 2 has been an absolute fucking nightmare. And all I can hope is that something comes out that is disturbing and damning enough and definite enough or definitely damning enough that it gets him impeached. That something turns even the Republican Party against him where they have to say, we can't support this anymore in our right minds. One can only hope. One can only hope that every single one of these politicians isn't a sicko, but it's starting to seem like they are. Name one decent politician. Honestly, left or right, Like I was saying right at first, name one decent politician on the right with morals. I can't. But now I can't even name one on the left, dude. Like, I feel like Bernie Sanders is even too big of a pussy to actually do anything that or say anything that makes any sort of an impact beyond the idealistic, we need to stop the big banks. Okay, what are you doing about that? You've got great ideas that you're like saying, but what are you doing about that other than saying we need to do this? Same with Chuck Schumer. It's the same thing. Same with AOC. AOC has really pacified out. In my opinion, I have not heard much from her during the drops of the Epstein files. She has not been very loud spoken about this. I don't know if it's because her colleagues are also in there and it's everyone on both sides, or if it's because she's really just a sellout establishment Democrat who went into all of this trying to sell us a Green New Deal but never actually following through on it. I don't fuck with these politicians anymore. It doesn't matter how far left they are. They're all fucking sellouts. They all don't care about you or me. And at some point, we've got to start voting, not with our dicks, not with what they tell us to vote, but with our own actual critical fucking thinking brains. And if you've forgotten how to critical think, now is the time to work on that. Now is the time to step outside of your echo chamber. And now is the time to start thinking to yourself, what is it that I actually want? Not just politically, but what is it that I actually want in or from my life? And don't let somebody else decide that for you. And I mean that generally. I mean that as a blanket statement, not just about our government. If you let others govern you and how you think about things, you will lose your ability to critical think, and you will just be another pawn or another puppet controlled by somebody else because you want to please them and you don't want to be a deviant. You don't want to deviate from the norm or social norms that have been set by our society that you feel so inclined to follow and conform to. When newsflash, dude, they're social norms. They're not laws yet. So stop acting like they are before they actually make them laws. Before thought crime becomes a thing. Act, speak, think for yourself. You're allowed to question things. Don't let the right or left tell you you're not allowed to. You're allowed to question whatever the fuck you want. I don't care if it's church. I don't care if it's the efficacy of a vaccine. I don't care if it's the color of the fucking sky. You question whatever you need to question to get the answers that your fucking mind needs to continue to enrich your life in the ways that you want to properly enrich and protect it. You get me? Otherwise, who the fuck are you except for a pawn and a people pleaser? A pawn, a puppet, a people pleaser. And I don't think any of us want to be that, right? I think a lot of us have spent enough time compromising, not even compromising, because a compromise means both sides settle but also get. We're not compromising. We're settling, and we're conforming, and we're complicit in the fucking schemes of a 1% of the population that does not have our best interests in mind. They talk about us in the Epstein files, literally referring to us, the working class, as their cash cattle. That's not a joke. You can go to the DOJ site. You can look that up right fucking now. And it will say in there will be a conversation where Epstein, talking to other billionaires, refers to us as manipulable and as cattle. Those are the people who are in control. Those are the people that your lawmakers, our lawmakers, answer to. Not you or me, the people that voted them into power. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm going to say, again, if you don't know how to critically think for your own safety and your own survival, now is the time to start learning. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of external influences and pressures that are going to try to scare you away from your own individualism. But you have to learn to put a middle finger to that and tell that part of society and that voice to go fuck itself. Because it only exists because society gives it power. by abiding by it. So fight the fucking power, man. And I'll see you next week. Either on time or late, I don't know. I gotta figure something out with this schedule. But the news has been really disturbing lately. I needed a break. Like I said, this has been causing me some disturbing thoughts here. I tried recording this 2 days ago, and I want to release that part of this episode or that attempt, but there's some shit in there that I don't feel good about. And look, we're making changes here. I remember a year ago or over a year ago, I was still doing the Pool House podcast and saying a lot of things that I probably should have kept to myself. I'll elaborate on with that, but things are different now. We talk about the news. This has been the Short News Podcast. I appreciate you. I'll be back next week. If you need anything from me, I don't care who you are, as long as you're not Donald J. Trump. And I mean that. You know where to find me online. And you just, I don't know. I'm around. I appreciate every single one of you. I love you. I'll see you next week, in the words of my therapist. That's all the time we have. I'll see you next week. Bye.